this is my girlfriend's gonna just roll her eyes at me when she hears this. The so I'm reading chapter 2 of John, and this is talks about the first miracle where he's invited to a wedding, and they drank all the wine, and Mary, his mother, encourages him to, pesters him to make new wine. So he has the servants fill the jars with water, and then has them taste it, and it's good wine. And the host is like, "Why do you do that? Why do you? They're all drunk already. Most people, put put the good wine out first, and when they're drunk, they give them the less, the cheaper wine, right? Okay. So this was interesting because water represents a type of teaching, preaching, all right, that will cleanse you, right? It'll get you to see your errors. It'll cause you to repent, right? It'll cause you to avoid sin and all this stuff, right? Wine is the next higher level, right? Which is what Christ was doing. Christ was teaching a higher level of understanding, right, of the law, of the word, interpreting the prophets and all that, right? Then the next story is he goes to the temple and he sees that there's vendors set up. So they're selling animals for sacrifice, and they turned it into a business. And Christ, turns over their tables and chases them off, right? And then he's like, they're asking, what authority do under what authority are you able to do this? Tear us up and everything. And what he says is, I'll show you. Tear this temple down, and in 3 days I will rebuild it. Okay, so right off the bat, he's talking about his own death and resurrection. He's like saying, let's go. And then he's like putting out the challenge right then. Okay, now in Matthew, that's more toward the end of Matthew, where you read about tearing up the temple, right? But in John, it's right away, like in the beginning, right? So the wildest thing is, I'm listening to some shorts after I read it, and it's got Cam Newton talking about Brian Branch, and Cam Newton saying, about people just getting under your skin and, keep getting after you. And he's like, for me, somebody does that, I'm telling him, let's see if you can say that to me after the game. All right. And sends a message to them, right? But he's throwing it out there, right? He's challenging them, just like Christ did, or Christ challenging the scribes and Pharisees, just like Cam Newton. Isn't that crazy? And my girlfriend thinks I think I'm crazy. All right, have a good day.